Augustine once said that the world is a book, and if you do not travel, then you're only reading a page. I agree with this, and I think that traveling can be good for everybody. In fact, the Traveling Industry Association says that an annual vacation can decrease your chances for heart attack by 50%, and it can also increase your sleep quality and decrease your stress throughout the rest of the year. Traveling has always been a big part of my life. I was born in 1989 in Scottsdale, Arizona, and at the time my dad was a manager at Marriott Hotels, he was a manager at Marriott Hotels, which implied a lot of transferring around the country. In 1990, we moved down to Tucson, Arizona, and in 1991, my sister was born. Later that same year, we were transferred to Seattle, Washington, and then in 1993, we transferred over to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. From there, we transferred over to Northwest Indiana, and at that point, my dad was laid off, and so we had to move back down to Phoenix, Arizona. At that point, we took a sabbatical. And we went up to Salt Lake City, and then around to Devil's Tower, Mount Rushmore, then down through Cheyenne and Denver, and then went through the Four Corners back to Phoenix. During this part of my life, I was learning more of the tedious aspects of traveling, like packing up and sitting in the car for long periods of time. Over the next few years, we moved back and forth between Phoenix and Seattle while my parents were deciding where they wanted to live.
All those lines.
Yeah. They finally, in 1996, decided on Seattle, Washington, and that's where we stayed for another 9 years. Yeah. During this time, we went on a lot of family trips and vacations around the region. Two that I can remember are Long Beach, Washington, and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Long Beach, we drove down in our truck, and it's legal to drive on the beaches, so we did some driving on the beaches, 4x4 off-roading. So, a big cultural thing there is flying kites because it's very windy, so we participated in that. And then we also explored the city and the beaches on foot, going up and down the trails. The trip to Coeur d'Alene started out as just driving down to Pullman so that we could attend my mom's bachelor's degree graduation. But then we decided to go up to Coeur d'Alene, which is the northern part of Idaho, and go to Coeur d'Alene, where there's Silverwood theme park that's supposed to be the largest theme park in the Northwest. During this part of my life, I was learning the more recreational parts of sightseeing and participating in fun events, and instead of just the tedious parts of packing up and moving all the time. In 2004, I flew down to Europe on a school-sponsored trip. We landed in London, where we stayed for a few days to see the big landmarks there, like Parliament and Big Ben. And then we went up around to Bath and then down to Stonehenge, where we saw Stonehenge. And then we took the Channel Tunnel down to Paris, where we went up to the top of the Eiffel Tower, and we saw the Arc de Triomphe and Versailles Palace. We took a train down through Switzerland over to Venice, which is the most beautiful city in the world, in my opinion. We then took a bus across Italy down to Rome, where we saw the Colosseum and Caesar's tomb and a lot of the ruins around there. And then we flew back. And this whole trip was me starting to learn about more independent traveling. Most of my other vacations before had been family trips. So I was starting to learn about traveling by myself and meeting new people and traveling with people I didn't know. In 2005, my mom and dad got a divorce, and we moved back down to Phoenix, Arizona. My mom then remarried and had another son, and in 2007, we went on a trip to Oklahoma to see my stepdad's parents. We went there, and there was a lot of outdoor recreational activities there, like we fished and we kayaked on some lakes and just all sorts of stuff to do there. We then, in 2007 still, we went over to Carlsbad, California to see Legoland because I was a diehard fan of Legos as a child, so Then in 2008, most recently, only about a month ago, we went on a trip to Las Vegas to see my sister getting married. So that was another fun road trip. From this period of time, I was learning about traveling as an adult. These were my first vacations as an adult and my first vacations in my new family. So from the more tedious parts of my early childhood to the more fun vacations that I've been doing, I've been learning travel has been a big part of my life. I've learned that I'm an independent and curious person who needs to learn stuff every day, and I cannot wait for my next big vacation.